2017 Chevy Trax first drive, refreshed crossover gets a familiar face. Chevrolet's smallest cube gets a heavy dose of cruise. The Chevy Trax has spent just a few years on sale in the States, but it's been largely unchanged since its global launch in 2013. That, well, changes for 2017. You'll still find the familiar 1.4-liter turbocharged i4 mated to a 6-speed automatic under the hood, and the same optional all-wheel drive system, but a facelift focuses on the front and rear sheet metal. The fascias now closely follow the styling of the rest of the Chevy lineup, and that's not a bad thing. Chevy also overhauled the interior by giving the Trax a new dash. Where the previous Trax interior boasted a surplus of storage and dearth of style, the 2017 model gets a bit of flair. Chevy decided to replace the bin above the glove box with a piece of styled leather, while the storage on top of the dash was axed to accommodate changes to the center stack, which now has a sharper angle to reduce glare and a standard 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Like the Cruze sedan, the 2017 Trax has ditched its former, top-trim LTZ badge in favor of Premier. Despite its name, the Trax Premier doesn't feel like a large step up over the middle-rung LT trim. Yes, the Premier gets leather seats and a chrome-trimmed steering wheel, but the infotainment system, interior panels and dash pads are identical. Almost expected as the price, those common surfaces feel hard and unappealing. The dash pad in front and rear door panels are just textured rubbery plastic. Chevy kept the single armrest on the driver's seat, foregoing the passenger rest provided in 16. The gauge cluster is unchanged from the 2016 model, featuring analog dials relaying information. While the front seats are comfortable enough for road tripping, rear passengers won't have as much fun. The back seat padding and legroom are both reminiscent of economy-class airplane seats. The front passenger seat is folded flat, essentially becoming a plastic-covered ottoman, and the Trax's cargo space outpaces that of both the Nissan Juke and the Mazda CX-3. You won't be able to move your best friend's couch, but it should be good enough for the daily grind. What's it like to drive? The Trax sports the same 1.4-liter turbocharged i4 used by the Cruze sedan. With only 138 horsepower at 4,900 revolutions per minute and 148 pounds-feet of torque at 1,850 revolutions per minute, you won't set any land speed records, but this engine will happily haul you wherever you want to go, at least in front-wheel drive models. The all-wheel drive Trax might make more sense in harsher climates, but the added weight and drag of the drivetrain makes for noticeably slower crawls to 60 miles per hour in Premier trim. The 18-inch wheels multiply the effects of the short wheelbase and make for a bumpy ride. In lower trims, 16-inch standard wheels show more tire sidewall and help ride quality considerably. Regardless of wheel choice, road noise isn't excessive for the class, and the 2017 Trax's cabin seems quieter overall than the older models. The only noise that bleeds into the passenger compartment at 70 miles per hour is engine noise, which is noticeable but not excessive. The short wheelbase and quick electric power steering make the Trax an ideal crossover for city slickers, and urban areas are where the Trax feels at home. While it might not be as nimble as a Smart 4 it can get into tight parking spots and easily navigate narrow lanes. Outward visibility is good, the roof pillars aren't excessively large and don't block sight lines, and the upright seating position gives a good vantage point for scouting out problems on the roadway. The multifunction steering wheel and voice commands help keep driver distraction down. Volume controls for the radio and cruise control controls are intuitive and well laid out. The LCD display inset into the gauge cluster takes a minute to get used to, as its controls are on the turn signal stalk. It'll take you a while to get used to it, but it'll become old hat after time spent in the car. In Premier trim, the Trax gets lane departure and collision warnings. The collision warning fires off a red LED on the dash if you're closing too quickly on the car in front. Lane departure warning simply beeps when you weave out of a lane and illuminates an icon in the gauge cluster. Do I want it? With more storage space than the Mazda CX-3 and less polarizing looks than the Nissan Juke, the Trax occupies a conservative, utilitarian spot in the compact crossover market. The interior is still a compromise with its lack of soft-touch materials and attention to detail, which could be alleviated by moving up to the Buick Encore, at a price. If you're looking for a spacious city ripper and don't care about touching rubbery plastic, you should give the Trax a look. Chevy has yet to release pricing, but we bet it'll start around $21,000, again, the same neighborhood as the Mazda CX-3 and Nissan Juke. Just don't expect the Trax to deliver the most fun per dollar.